Hello everyone and welcome back to Wolf Quest, Dawn of the Wolves, and we are back with Dawn as she continues on for the Summer of the Wolves special event. Though as you guys may see, it is currently not summer. We are transitioning into winter and the phase called Survival of the Pack. And for those of you who are new to Wolf Quest, we'll let you know what this is all about. A wolf's life is about one thing, passing on its genes to the next generation. All else from hunting elk to defending territory drives towards this single goal. You and your mate survive the hazards of the wilderness long enough to meet each other, form a bond, and survive the winter. Now you can try to realize this goal. With pups of your own, you and your mate will be known as the breeding pair of your pack. Their survival and the survival of your genetic code will be your responsibility. Even with all the dangers you have faced to reach this point, your real struggle has only begun. So here we are, and for a lot of you this may be new territory to see, but this is the creek. This is the ancestral land that Dawn actually knows nothing about, but is the place where we will find a den. After a bitter winter, your mate and you know the time has come to start a family. Since other packs have already claimed the slopes of Amethyst Mountain as their own, you have ventured across the Lamar River in search of your own territory. The meadows and hills around the creek look promising. Tucked somewhere into the hills and woods, here is a den site for your pups. An ideal den site should be close to food and away from danger such as rival packs. If you can't find this ideal, you will have to decide whether food or safety is more important to you. And that is actually what you guys are going to help us do today. So Dawn is here with her brand new mate Onyx, and he's looking pretty good. And we have the beauty of an early winter dawn. So she has once again rolled dawn, but she has actually, which is the time of day. We roll a dice to see what time of day we have, and we also roll a dice to see what difficulty level we have. And she's actually rolled the Bring It On difficulty. So it's going to be a little challenging to say the least today, because we are going to have the hardest level difficulty, and that means it's just been a very bitter, cold, hard winter for Dawn and Onyx to try to get used to hunting together and being a pack together in. And this is the open land that they're going to need to find a den and raise their puppies within. So today, you guys are going to help me vote on which den they should choose. Each of the 3 spots that you see on the map is a den that is available to them. Many of you veteran Wolf Quest players know all about these dens, and many of you who have watched our adventures for so long know all about the stories we have at each den, the way we have renamed Saddle Meadows to Bear Mountain, the way we have struggled so much with the stranger wolves invading over in the thick forest, the way that Aspen Heights is pretty awesome, but the struggle to get from the top den up here all the way across Old Oxbow. We almost always lose a puppy or two to starvation right about here because it's a huge gap between food resources. So today, you guys are going to help me pick between these 3 dens. We'll go ahead and go visit them just to remind all of you what they are like. There is a 4th den that you can unlock if you have over 4,000 experience points. We currently only have 2,430 experience points because we are a very young pack. We still have a lot to learn about the world. Onyx and Dawn still have a lot to discover, a lot of hunting to do. Ooh, look at them. What? Oh, we almost made it across the river without going in. Is there like some sort of weak point in the water here? What? When did this show up? Has that always been there? What the heck? Is that the usual spot and I'm just all thrown off? It is the usual spot and I'm just all thrown off. I can't believe I instinctually ran this direction. That's so funny. Even though it's been so long since I have been able to be in Wolf Quest, that's really funny. I am telling you guys, I have really learned a lot about this game, so that's why we include so many challenges. After almost 300 episodes, you can imagine that those challenges really help to add a little bit of spice to some adventures that I may have grown very familiar with, and I love it. And I really love the way that you guys get to input your own ideas into the challenges we do too. But let's go ahead and hunt down some elk just to see how these two do together. There's the elk on the open, beautiful snowy plains. Let's not go for the bull elk, Onyx. He's a little bit of a bold guy. All right, it looks like the elk are actually healthier than usual, and that may be what makes it such a hard winter. All right, come on, Onyx. Come on. You can help us out about now. All right, that's right. Come on. All right, let's see if we can just grab and hang on. And maybe Onyx can come up. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think these two are going to be able to take down this elk, no problem. Yes. Good job, Onyx. Good job. Sorry, you're taking some kicks to the head. No, Onyx. Help me. All right, not bad. So even though it's set to be a very difficult winter, these two have managed to get a little bit of their own food. Wonderful. So they're actually close to the den that we have come to know as the Bear Mountain Den. That has some of the fondest memories that I have ever experienced in Wolf Quest, and also some of the most tragic. This is a little hill that we have defended again and again from so many bears. Bears have a big habit of showing up here. They show up everywhere, but I just feel like they show up the most here. And we have also claimed this space. This is probably the den that we have had the most generations of the Moon Pack in. So to me, this would probably be my vote for when I do my voting. But you guys are going to be the ones that pick the den this time, after all. And you need to decide if this is the correct den for Dawn and Onyx to choose to have their puppies in. The best things about this den are that it's very close to food. As you can see, we just chased a herd of elk that are basically at the foot of the hill. And I also love how close it is to the Douglas fir slopes, because that is our end goal. Getting our puppies down to about this spot in the Douglas fir slopes is what we have to do every time we raise a pack of puppies. Again, those of you who have played Wolf Quest before totally know this, but we have a lot of people who have not joining our ranks. So I just want to explain everything very carefully before we really get rolling. And so I really love Saddle Meadows, aka Bear Mountain Den, because it is really fantastic, because it's so close to food. You just have to cross the river, or a lot of the time we've actually been walking down past the cliffs and crossing the river over here, jumping over into the fir slopes and managing to survive. So that's been great. If we come over to the Bison Peak, well, I'll show you guys how tricky that can be in just a second. But this den's pretty nice. If we come on over, you can see, I should be able to find it by memory right up here. There it is. This is a den that has seen many generations of our wolves. I really love it. We do get attacked by stranger wolves occasionally from the north. They do come from about this direction. And so we have had a lot of stranger wolf problems. But otherwise, other than the bears, it is a really great source of food, and it's a great source of water. And actually in the future Wolf Quest update, they will be adding in hydration as something that you get to do with your wolves too. So that's going to make it very interesting. I really love how close it is to food. So remember guys, the whole point is to raise a pack of helpless puppies, hopefully all the way to the Douglas fir slopes. And if they survive, then we get to pass on our genetic legacy. And that is the goal of the game. That is the goal of why we're here and why we're doing this. All right, but the other two dens that we can pick from, I'll run over to really quickly. Yeah, there's the one of the elk again. All right, let's see if we can chase down the elk. The more elk we kill in winter, the more food we actually will have waiting for us in the summer when our puppies are born, or in the spring, I should say. So that's really awesome, but it also makes it a little bit easy, even when we play on hard. So one of the challenges you guys may help me vote on in the future is to completely ignore any of the cow-elks that were killed during winter, or to get rid of them 100%. So we may not do this. We call it the secret refrigeration technique, where you go out and you will kill some elk, and whatever elk you leave, until the ravens actually eat all of it, or a coyote shows up and eats all of it, you can leave those elk there and they'll always be there. The two we killed will still be there even when we have puppies all the way in the spring. You can see the crows and the ravens are already working on it. So that takes it down a little bit. But usually you can reliably come back to the carcasses for quite a while. That does happen in real life, where a carcass will remain in an area and the predators will be able to feed on it for quite some time. But it does take away a bit of the challenge, and I know a lot of you guys are against the ancestor blessings, but for the challenges. So if you think that removing all of the elk may be a challenge we need in the future, we can definitely talk about that and possibly vote it in the future. However, there's also times where the puppies are going to die no matter what you do if you haven't hunted enough elk and left their carcasses waiting to feed on. So it's sort of a tricky pick between the two. But all right, we're headed into, ooh, what are those? Are you guys, there's another carcass. And sometimes you might just get lucky and find the scraps of a carcass waiting for you. All right, well, we're full, so we don't need to eat that right now. And actually, there we go. Oh, Onyx has a silly howl. I didn't know what his howl sounded like, but it's actually pretty silly. All right, let's go. On the hunt, on the hunt. Let's take out one of these cow elk. They're easier to hunt during the winter because the snow makes them founder a little bit. All right, come on. Come on. No, you're supposed to be caught on the bush. Get caught on that sagebrush. Where's Onyx? Onyx, come help me. If we drive this cow elk towards the den, then if we pick this den, we'll have like an immediate source of food, which would be very nifty. All right, Onyx, where are you? Are you gonna... Oh, he just ran away. He got kicked by that elk and just ran off. Onyx, you're not supposed to do it that way. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll eat to heal up a little bit, and I will introduce you guys to the Aspen Heights den. As you can see, there are a herd of elk that show up at the Aspen Heights den as well, but they're actually the furthest away out of all the dens available. It's much easier to hunt for these elk at the other two dens, and it's also a lot easier to kind of angle the elk at the other two dens towards the Douglas fir slopes so that we can take the puppies from the den down to the carcasses and then keep moving to the slopes, because those puppies go through food fast and they can starve very quickly. But I'll show you this den. We have woven some really fantastic memories, especially of Eclipse, one of my personal favorite of our past WolfQuest wolves, right over at this den. And it is the closest to the cattle ranch, in case you guys end up voting on something that has to do for a challenge with the cattle ranch. So that's another thing that we might end up doing. Maybe the elk have a disease and we can't eat from them at all, and we can only feed our puppies from a fresh killed elk, or only feed our puppies from the cattle ranch. And that would be a very difficult challenge, but it is something we could achieve. This would be the den that we would pick right over here, and it actually looks a lot better in the spring, I promise. The trees are in leaf then, and it doesn't look just like the bare patch of rocks it appears right now. So it is a potential spot, but it is the furthest away from the fir slopes. The benefit of it is that it's also the furthest away from stranger wolf territory. We do end up with a lot of wolves messing with us when we're down at the Bison Peak cutoff den. And occasionally we end up with uplands wolves messing with us when we're over at Bear Mountain, aka Saddle Meadows. But it's also the furthest away from food, and it is close to the cattle ranch, which will be about here when summer comes and the ranchers bring their cattle over. And it is a really long walk, a very long walk with the puppies, which means exposing them to more of the predators, the cougars, the coyotes, the eagles, all of the things that want to eat our babies, the bears, the other stranger wolves. There's many things, starvation. There's many ways that puppies can die, Onyx. I hope you're prepared for this. I hope you helped Dawn out. You two are just innocent young wolves. You don't even know what you're getting into. All this foo-fwa talk of having pups, and they don't even know. They don't even know, guys. It's a lot tougher than it sounds. All right, and then I will take you on a tour of the very last of the 3 available dens. And don't forget, guys, the poll is going to be within the video itself. It will be up in the top right corner. You will be able to see a little eye. You'll be able to click on that, and it will open up the poll for you. That is really fantastic, and it's a really easy, great way to see how many of you want which den. And if you don't see that for some reason because your country or your device doesn't offer it, then just leave comments. Leave comments. And which den do you guys actually prefer? I personally love our Bear Mountain / Saddle Meadows den. I have renamed it Bear Mountain in my head forever now. But I know a lot of you guys are very partial to the forest den. That's the one I call the Bison Peak Cutoff Den. And that's because a lot of you have a lot of success with it. And it's actually the den we used the most when we were first starting out with the Moon Pack. But it is also the den that Lunala, one of the most hated wolves that we have ever had, has had her pups. And I guess it's kind of tainted a little bit for me because Lunala was the most despised out of all of the wolves we've ever had, just because she was a little bit spoiled. So let me know if you guys remember Lunala and how that got so out of control because people couldn't quite identify with the fact that she was just a little bit spoiled. All right, so let's see. And somewhere nearby, I feel it in my paws. I know somewhere nearby, okay, let's turn this way. There we go. One of these trees is going to be the den, right over here, actually. There it is. And this is the forest den. So this is one of the most picturesque dens. It is very pretty. It is very scenic. It is a very nice spot to raise some puppies, but we do run into a lot of stranger wolves that come from the thick forest over there, raiding our den. However, if they leave us alone and we can chase off the occasional honey-seeking bear who might snag a puppy or two, we can very easily chase the delicious prey that's right down here. They should be right outside of the forest edge, actually. Let's see. Ah, there they are. We can very easily chase some of these elk into the forest and right into the waiting mouths of our puppies. I actually find it very, very easy to just, there you go, to just turn some of them around. And as you can see, they almost run right into the den, just into the waiting mouths of our young pups. We never really struggle with feeding our puppies when they are like in this den, but it can be very challenging to get them across the river. Choosing this den means that we actually have to get our puppies across the river twice. And that's more, I don't remember if we have had a death result from that for a very long time. But to be able to make it to the Douglas fir slopes you see in the distance, we actually have to cross the river once over here at the sandbar crossing and then again on the other side. However, if we're able to do that, we do avoid the Little Butte, which we have a big problem with cougars at. So that's another thing that coming down from Saddle Meadows, if we come straight across here and go towards the Butte, then we often end up running into a lot of hawks and cougars. But if we go down here, we just run the risk of almost starving to death. However, with Sandbar Crossing, we're able to avoid the cougar and hawk hotspot, and we just need to wiggle across two little spots. However, drowning is a big issue with puppies too. They're fragile little fluff balls, Onyx. I hope you and Dawn are prepared for this. It is a much bigger responsibility than I think either of you realize. And they are still very young and very inexperienced wolves because they still only have 2,000 experience points. They're just babies. They just feel like such babies. We've gotten up to like 60,000 experience points in some of our packs before, so they truly do feel like very, very young wolves to me. But that's okay. They're starting out their story, and every step of the way, you guys have control over their destiny. So pick your favorite den in the poll, and then we will go ahead and start claiming that area as our own. Once we do that, we are going to move on to picking the challenge that this litter is going to face. The unique challenge that you guys will help me come up with and you guys will help me vote on. So if you have ideas for challenges, leave them in the comments below now. And then next time we will have our den. Oh, and actually before we even have the challenge, we're going to need puppy names. We're going to need so many puppy names. So yeah, you're going to need to leave some puppy names about now too. Hey, don't kick me. Rude. We're going to need some puppy names. So, yeah, I guess we're going to need that next time, too, because next time we will be having our puppies. All that's left is just you guys picking the den. So leave your puppy names for Dawn and Onyx's pups. We usually try to stick to kind of earth, plant, rock, especially solar system, cosmic sort of names. You can see our WolfQuest family tree for reference to the many, many names we've had before. Because it's Onyx and Dawn, we would probably go with things like sunset, dusk, midnight, etc. Many of those names we have used before, but you know, it's okay to have some repeats now and then. There we go. And because we have Onyx, we'll probably go with a lot of rock names. So leave your wolf pup names, vote on the den, and then once we pick the den and the challenge, things are really going to get moving very quickly. So I hope you guys are ready, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.